A written component to a math test isn't typical for most classes, and it's certainly something we haven't experienced yet in this class. All of the homework has been built into MLP, either entering numerical answers, multiple choice answers. So I want to give you a brief explanation of how to take this written component of the test. It's going to be completed in MLP as well, but rather than obviously the multiple choice, you're going to have sort of an open answer essay box to fill out. So you'll head to the Exam 1 tab and the Take Home tab, and then click on the assignments page. You'll see the three different components of the test listed: the practice test for the proctored portion, the proctored portion which needs to be taken in the testing center, and then the take-home portion. Whenever you're ready to start that take-home portion, you can go ahead and just click that link. It'll ask if you're ready to start, and you'll say, yes, I'm ready to start. Once this test loads up, you'll see that it consists of 3 essay questions, each with a link to a data set on an external page, and then an explanation of what you need to do. So for instance, for the first test, for the first question, you're going to construct a histogram with a specific bin width. You're going to explain why a histogram is appropriate, discuss the different important characteristics of the graph, explain what those mean in the context, and then make sure your answer is in essay form, written in complete sentences. So once you're ready to start typing your answer, you can type your answer here. There are different tools along the side here for different types of symbols and notations. For this first test, we probably won't be using any of those, but as we progress through the semester, these tools will start to come in handy. So you may end up wanting to use those, but probably not. They'll be there though for each test. You probably won't be able to finish this test entirely in one sitting, and that's fine. You can always close out of this test as long as you don't click submit. When you click submit, you're saying you're done with the test, you're ready for it to be graded. But if you just need to take a break from working on your test, up in the right corner of your screen, or for a Mac in the left corner of the screen, there's going to be the X button to close out of that window. So at any point, you can have part of an answer typed in here. If you need to step away from the test, you can close that attempt. And then as soon as you're ready to come back in and continue working on the test, click the link again, say you're ready to start, and your previous work will be saved. So I'm back in, and that exact text I had already typed is still there. So you can start this test, stop this test, come back to it as often as you need to. The other component to this test is actually accessing the data and then copying that into StatCrunch. So there's no direct link to copy this data into StatCrunch because we're pulling it from an external site. So I'm going to click on the Happy Planet Index link, which will open up a new page for me. So this is an external page that has the data that you'll be using for this problem. It'll include a brief description at the top explaining what this data is about. If you need a little bit more context, down at the bottom of that table there's a link that will take you to the original page this data came from, if that helps with writing any of your context-based answers. To get this data into StatCrunch though, what we're going to do is click and just drag over this table until we have all of the data values highlighted. So we've got quite a bit we're working with here. So once you have all of the data copied, or highlighted, then you want to copy that table by either right-clicking and selecting copy, or hitting Control-C or Command-C on an Apple computer. So I've copied that data. I can go ahead and close this, and then I already have StatCrunch open. So I'm going to switch to that window, and by pressing Control-V or Command-V on Apple computer, I can paste that data into StatCrunch. So good idea just to take a look, scroll through, confirm that nothing copied incorrectly, all of the columns are in order. But once you have that data highlighted, copied, and then pasted into StatCrunch, now you're ready to access the tools that you need and start completing the test. One last thing I will point out to you. When you're taking the test, you do have an Ask My Instructor button. I typically don't include that on tests, but that is included here. So you can, just like you've done with the homework if you've made use of that feature before, write me a question, type out a question to send me if there's something you're confused on about how to progress with the problem, something you don't quite understand or want some clarification on. I would encourage you to use that if you need some help, but keep in mind that I can't give you answers to the test. What I can do is try to nudge you in the right direction or give you some help, kind of reference where you should look back in the notes to better understand a certain concept. So something to make use of, but just keep in mind I won't be able to answer questions or necessarily tell you is your answer right or wrong. But I'm definitely open for helping you out if you feel stuck with a problem. The other resource that you have available as you work through this is the exam 1 discussion. Keep in mind this is just an optional discussion. There's no requirement to post here, but if you want to throw out questions for your classmates to answer, that's another resource for you as well. Good luck.